Hello and welcome to LUISA TV. Each week I'll be guiding you with tools and tips and inspiration and a little bit of passion to live a more passionate life and perhaps provide you with some light entertainment. The theme for this week is loneliness. And yes, I did feel lonely, or I thought I felt lonely this week. So I dived in and asked myself the questions: am I lonely? What am I lonely for? What am I lacking? And what am I lacking within myself? It's funny, I thought back on times in my life that I have been lonely, and I remember being very lonely in boarding school when I was surrounded by people. I was very lonely in my marriage, surrounded by family. And I've been lonely at big parties, surrounded by fabulous people. Loneliness really is not the absence of someone or something or someplace. Loneliness is an emotion within ourselves, and what it ultimately comes down to is a disconnection with ourselves. As harsh as that may sound, and I don't discredit many of you, particularly at this time that we're going through, will be feeling lonely from the absence of others. Loneliness isn't something you left behind. It isn't something you lost. It isn't something you forgot. Or perhaps it's something you forgot with inside of yourself, because inside we're actually all complete. We are all divine, pure beings. The thing is, with loneliness, it needs to be found inside. It's an inside job to fix it. So often we look for lovers, husbands, wives, cars, careers, jobs to fulfill that void within inside of us. And yes, it does work for a while, but ultimately those things are not our foundation. They're not eternal. They come and they go. They can disappoint us. But the only thing that is eternal is us, is our soul, is our pure divineness. And that's where we will always find and fix our loneliness. And that's where we always will be complete. Loneliness, the feeling of loneliness can be a beautiful thing, because loneliness can be tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, there's something screwy and off with your vibration. There's something you need to work on. You're relying on something outside to fix you, to make you happy, to bring you joy, when in fact this can only be found within you. Many of you know this, me included, but we so often forget. Life can be a tough and suffering road at times. When we dive into our loneliness, we learn deeper layers of ourself. We learn deeper layers of our being, and in doing so, when we find completeness with our internal world, we look around us and we find that our external world is much more complete. As within, as without. Byron Katie said it beautifully. If you want to find the love of your life, look in the mirror. And it's so true. So last week I didn't give you a personal example, but I will. And to think once that I was actually a shy, private person. So my feeling of loneliness arose a couple of nights this week. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was feeling lonely because I missed Edward. And if you don't know who Edward is, for a more in-depth, detailed view, go back to Trading Places too. But Edward is a soul I met a couple of years ago who somehow collided into my reality. Well, nothing happens by accident. And we haven't actually met physically. We haven't touched. So it's a really interesting scenario. And I felt this missing, this longing. And I got curious and I asked myself these questions. Am I missing something within inside of me? And as I progressed this week, I realized that yes, I was. I didn't think I was enough. And I realized that we, me, you, all of us are really the hero of our story, the captain of our ship. And we are enough. And that doesn't discredit physicality and others. We are social human beings. But when we come from a place of completeness, when we come from a place of wholeness, a solid foundation, we will attract everything we're looking for on the external world. Our life is a mirror, a hologram. And when we feel that wholeness, so too our outside world will be whole. Everything, whether good or bad, is a lesson in life. And no one wants to experience loneliness. But look at what loneliness is asking of you. And sometimes loneliness asks a lot of you. Sometimes loneliness asks you just as much as you can bear. But if you can dive deep and ask yourself the questions, is it me? What am I lacking? And am I actually in fact not lacking anything? I'm just not recognizing that my divine nature and that I'm enough. This can help greatly getting to know yourself more and overcome the feelings of disconnection, incompleteness, and loneliness. So here are some tips to overcome loneliness. Get quiet and ask yourself questions you don't know the answer to. Ask yourself, what might you be lacking internally? Do something you enjoy. Do something fun. Go for a walk, have a swim, surf, ski, pick up a phone and talk to a friend. Meditate. Did I say meditate? Maybe I did. Meditate is a great one. Long talks with yourself under the moon and the stars. Write, read. And of course, you can listen to the wonderful free videos that Passion Harvest offers you to explore many of the universal truths of life. Many of you at this time may be feeling the disconnection from others, and all those universal freedoms we once took for granted have been taken from us, but the only freedom can always be the freedom within us. If you could look at this time, this crazy time that the world is going through, as a learning lesson, as an experience to use the spiritual touch in the absence of the physical touch. If we can connect more on a spiritual level, on a more multidimensional level, because we really don't have a choice sometimes. We're so missing a hug or a kiss or a holding of hands or just a smile from a stranger that we don't have, or many of us don't have at this moment. So we have to use other means. And this is a wonderful lesson to strengthen that resolve within us. All I can say to you is remember that you are enough. Everything is okay. Everything is going to be okay. If you can find that internal strength within you, that internal love within you that you already have, it's just a matter of remembering it and trying to locate it somewhere lost deep inside of you. And look at loneliness as your soul, your source, your God connecting with you to say, hey, I'm tapping you on the shoulder. It's time to recognize me. I'm right here. I'm right here, and I always have been. I will always be with you, and I will always love you. So I would say, nurture friendships, nurture people who travel alongside you, nurture life, embrace life, find gratitude and be love, be the love that you are, but most of all, nurture yourself, nurture the relationship with yourself, comfort yourself. Thank you so much for listening to me now. And I know it sounds cliche, but I know that you're here for a reason listening to this message. And I hope you receive what you are needing at this time. And please leave a comment below or leave a question and I'll answer it. Much love, sending much love to you all. And until next week, bye for now.